Today I'm going to attempt to draw this self-designed earring and make it into peridot and silver. And if you're new here, I'm Jen, this is jyndrawz, and welcome back. And I say attempt because I seriously considered scrapping this whole video, but after editing it and watching it back, it's not as bad as I feared it was going to be. I was living off the high of making that crown piece, and this one was a struggle. It was a struggle. I really struggled with this one. I thought, okay, you know what? That crown, it went so well. I'm just going to bang out these earrings. They're going to be awesome too. I can do this. This is my wheelhouse. I'll be able to do it. It'll turn out cool and great. And I did a test peridot on a scrap piece of paper. It looked really awesome. I'm like, yes, I've got this. I've got this. And rendering the silver or white gold, whichever you want to call it, piece of cake. Piece of cake. I can do this. Oh, it was a struggle from the beginning. I'm like, okay, you know, I'll just lie down a nice light limey green yellow color. I'll liquefy it. I'll go over it with these other yellowy green colors that I have picked out to make it look like some peridots. Since it's August and the birthstone for August is peridot, or do you say peridot? What do you call it? Peridot or peridot? I thought it was peridot. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Is it doe or dot? Do you pronounce the T? Anyhow, that's beside the point. So then I was laying down some greens and I was trying to blend those out, and the moment I blended them, it was really too dark, or I was picking up all the pigment off the page, or the page was starting to peel, and I'm like, do I have the wrong side of the paper? Do I have too much water? Have I not done enough pigment? What is going on? It was a struggle, but I pushed through. I just kept going, and now that I look at it after it's all dried, I'm gonna say it's not as bad as I was thinking the whole time I was making this. I was like, as you can see, I put down green, and then it was just like all blend away, and I'm like, where did my dark green go? Where did my shadow go? Why is this all not going as smooth as it did with the crown? I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, okay, I'll take some from the crayon and I'll add it down. And it was like, when I saw that dark green go down, I was like, in my head, I was freaking out. And I'm like, no, it's all okay. It's all okay. It's watercolor. It's watercolor. I can just, you know, make the brush really wet, and I'll lift that pigment. It'll all be fine. I'll go over it with some of the lighter. I'll lighten it all back up. It'll all be great. It'll all be great. It'll all be great. That is what was going through my mind during this piece. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a struggle. And sometimes art is a struggle. And this piece definitely was. And then I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm done. I'm done trying to get these peridots to look like peridots. So I'm going to move on to the metal. I can manage rendering the metal out, right? It's very simple. It's very straightforward. You got the light on the left. You got the shadow on the right. You got a bit of a curve in the metal. You highlight where it should go. You think, okay, the light is top left. So, you know, you got the cast shadow going down the right side. And where we got the setting for the gemstones, we got to, you know, add a little bit more darkness there. So you get that real 3D effect. So it's like two pieces. You got the S shape, and then you got the setting for the gemstone, and you keep those separate. And because the metal has thickness, you have on some places where you can see the side of it, so then you have to add the hard line of where there'd be like the top and there'd be the side, so you get that real 3D effect. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sketch it all in with crayon, and then I'll liquefy it, and that way, you know what, I got all the colors down where they should be, and then I can just liquefy from light to dark. It'll all go fine. This will be piece of cake. I'm not putting in too much dark to begin with because I don't want to overpower it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go lightly, and I'll just swoosh out just a little bit of this dark so that it doesn't overpower it. And then I'm like, okay, time to liquefy. Time to liquefy. It'll be fine. It'll go great. I mean, look at that. I don't got too much crayon down. It'll be great. It'll be great. Boy, some days you just want to take your art supplies and throw them out the window. And then you think, no, maybe I shouldn't do that. I kind of spent a lot on these, and I should not give up just yet. Let's persevere. Let's persevere. It'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. But I was having a real tug of war in my head over this. I'm like, why is this not going so well? And I could not get out of that despair. I'm like, why is it so dark? Why is it not light? Why am I having so much problems? And I'm like, now I'm looking back on it. I'm like, with the crown, I really did a lot of light layers. And only at the end did I add in any of the dark shadows. And I'm thinking, maybe that's how I should have approached this. I should have done all like the light and the medium and left the dark and the shadows to the very end, like I did with the crown piece, because that is pretty much what worked in that one. And I'm thinking now that is what I should have done. I should have left out the darks till the very, very end and not try to do those so early on in the piece, because as you see here, I'm going over it with the light gray and I add some white in to really try and lighten it up and bring back in the lightness to it, because that was really missing from it. It was really getting really dingy and really dark, and I was like, no, this is way, way, way too dark, way too dark. And I'm thinking now that's what I did wrong. I should have just done the light and the mid-tone and saved the darks for the very end. That way I could have gone in a little more, not so heavy-handed with the darkness, because that's, I think, what really threw me off. And I'm like, yeah, now that I'm watching it back again for the third time as I've edited this and I'm now doing the voiceover, I'm thinking, yes, I think that is where I went wrong. I should have really kept the darks till the very, very end. And I did try to do something different on both earrings, both the left and the right. You will see a little bit of that I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I needed to add more pigment. So then I added more pigment on the second one, but as you will see, that also turns out way really, really dark. And I'm like, no, it should not be this dark. Silver is not this dark. White gold is not this dark. I'm losing the shine and the brightness of the metal that should be there. But I'm like, there should be more something because I don't have enough contrast. But I think I should have really held off on trying to get the 3D effect and the contrast and just got the light and mid-tones a bit more blended and a bit softer, and done like the highlights and done then the shadows more towards the end. I was a little too impatient. I was a little too confident after the success with the crown. Yeah, because if I look at the steel that I did on the crown, that looks way better, way nicer, way more 3D, and that's because I did the darks only at the end after I had already blended out all the light and the mid-tones. So, lesson learned. That's, well, at least that's what works for me, I'm thinking. When I try another piece, we will find out if that is truly what works for me, and that will be my goal for the next one. I will just do the light and the mid-tones and then the darks only at the very end so that it doesn't overpower the piece and make it so dark as it is now. So let's hope that works for the next one. But it was nice to get to do some art, and I know that sounded really sarcastic, but it was nice to play with the crayons still. I am still having fun with them, and maybe I had a little beginner's luck with my first piece, I'm thinking now. That seems to be like a story and a theme for me. I have a lot of good beginner's luck, and then when I try to repeat it, I don't know what happens. I get a little too in my head, or I'm thinking, oh, I know how to do this. I can do this. I got this. And then I like totally forget everything that I learned on that first piece. I don't know. Is that with you too? Do you have like good beginner's luck, and then after that is like downhill for a bit, and then you get that good rhythm again, or maybe it's just me. So here I am adding in some more of the light, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna give these gems one more shot. I'm gonna add in some dark. I really got to get that shadow in there, and it's really kind of too far from the edge, but I'm like, you know what, I just got to get something so they look like gems, so that when I add in the highlight, they will look like gems. And they do in the end. I get there in the end. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I do get there. They do look like gems in the end. Yeah, I'm looking at it from the distance here on my art side of the table, away from the computer. Yeah, it looks okay. It looks okay. I mean, I have the crown and the earrings next to one another, and the crown still looks way better than the earrings, which I'm a little disappointed in. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be a downer, but this was a struggle, and maybe you also are going through a struggle, and I just want to say, you know what? Keep pushing through, keep persevering, because 2 hours later, when you're editing the video and you're looking back at it, or you're opening up your art book and you're looking at it again, or your sketchbook, you're thinking, wow, what was I thinking? That did turn out really good. Why was I so hard on myself? Because that is what I'm thinking right now, and I've only been removed from the project for about 5 hours now, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad, they're not that awful, they are decent, it's okay, they're a little wonky, but you know what, it's fine, you know, at least I got something done, and done is better than perfect, right? That's what they say, done is better than perfect. So that's what I'm gonna stick with. Done is better than perfect, and they definitely are done. And I learned a lot, but I still love my crayons. I still love playing with them. They are still a lot of fun. I did do a lot more layers with them. I layered a lot of raw crayon, I guess you want to call it, where I didn't liquefy it down. I just layered it on top, and I made sure that it didn't look too grainy. If it was grainy, I liquefied it just ever so slightly. But I do like that combination with this as well, that I have a bit more raw crayon to this one, so that gives a bit more texture to it, which I do like as well. And as you see here with these ones, I just laid down that light lime green color. Again, I will link all the colors that I used down below in case you want to try this, or maybe you want to add other colors, try different colors, maybe you have more colors. Again, I'm just using the colors that were out of those 50th anniversary set, because those are the ones that are open and on my desk, and those are easy access right now, so I'm just going with those ones. But as you saw, I just did liquefy the base for the gemstone, and then I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave that, let that dry, and I'm going to work on the metal. I'm just going to do the metal around the gemstone, and then maybe this one will turn out better than the other one. Sort of. Yes, it took me far less time than the left one, so I'll call that a gain and a plus. And as you see on the earring, the top part where there should have been more shadow, which is what I would have done if I would have done this in marker, I did now far less of the darker color, the darkest gray color, just so that I wouldn't get that super darkness too much on that top piece that should be having, well, a little bit of shadow because it is away from the light source, but not as harsh and as much as I did on the left piece. So I think that helped out a lot as well. And then on the side where it is the furthest away and it would be in shadow, I did a way more of the dark and only a little bit of the medium color, the medium gray, and that really went well, and I think that helped the second one a lot. Also, I was having a bit of issues with keeping the nib wet, but not too wet, because it was pulling up all of the crayon, and otherwise it was sometimes running really dry, so I had like a little bucket of water so I could dip the tip in a little bit just to get it a little bit moist, because it seemed like it just kept running dry, and I'm like, why is it being so dry? But then again, I was like really nervous because this is a really tight, small area that I'm working in. Maybe that was part of my problem too, that they were way too small. I should have like increased them like 10 or 20%. That probably would have helped too, because I was working in a very small area, and since I'm not that fluent or that experienced with these crayons, maybe because I was working in a small area, that hindered my ability, because the crown was definitely much larger, a much bigger space to work in, and I had a lot more forgiveness if it ran over. Whereas with these gemstones, I had like, what is it, the size of a quarter? Yeah, it's about the size of a quarter, so I don't have much space, and I'm trying to blend 3 colors in there while keeping space for the highlight and doing the shadow, and that probably also hindered my ability here, since I'm not that skilled with these just yet. That if I would have worked larger, I already thought I was working large enough, but I should have worked larger and given myself a bit more grace and space to blend and color, because again, these are crayons and not precise coloring tools. So because of that, I should have worked a little larger until I have more experience and more control with this medium, and I think that would help too. Oh, I love doing these voiceovers because it gets me thinking about what I could have done better and talking it out with you, and you know, I'm hoping anybody can leave a comment in the comment section over, yes, indeed, you should have worked a little larger until you've done more artworks, because indeed this medium requires a bit more space and a lot less fine detail, especially if you're using them very bluntly and coloring in the space on the page and not using a palette to shave them off and create watercolor with them. And that would help a lot in the first artworks that you do, that you give yourself more space and try not to do such fine detail. That way you won't get so frustrated. Is that a good thing? Did I just like coach myself into something good? Any NeoColor 2 artists, if you can leave your advice and comments down in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm looking for any suggestions. They're always welcome. Maybe it works for me, maybe it doesn't, but I appreciate your feedback and hearing from you what you think might have helped me even more in this process. But I'm thinking I worked too small, I tried too much, I didn't remember the lessons I learned in making the crown, which was just do the lights and the mediums, and then at the end add in the darks. I think that would have helped me a lot. I did go around adding an edge because I thought it needed it, because it was just looking so like it had no edge, like it had no surface to it. And then I'm going to add in my white highlights, which I take directly from the crayon, otherwise it doesn't apply very opaquely and it's very translucent, and I need a really bright white highlight without having to get out a paint marker or anything else. I really wanted to stick to using just the NeoColor 2's for this. Again, I had tried putting in a drop shadow on the one. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. I took the white and I coated it and liquefied it out, and then I let it dry. And then I put down another layer of the white, liquefied it, and removed mostly the shadow that I had created, because it was just... It was not a good thing. It was not a good thing at all. I can see a little bit of it because, well, the white crayon and the white paper are slightly different whites, and you can see the wax and the pigment on the paper, but in general, I don't think you can actually see it that much, so I'm going to call it that drop shadow has been erased, and it does not exist anymore. And as we near the final stretches, I ask you, was this an epic failure or a great success? Let me know in the comments down below. Failure or success? I'm looking for some feedback. What do you guys think? Yes, thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's leave that as an emoji in the comments, thumbs up or thumbs down. And then I hope to see you all in the next one. And thanks for watching. Bye!